Hey guys, I'm Shane from Motion Academy, and this is the part 2 of our product render tutorial. Let's catch up with where we left. This is our selected reference that we will be looking to set up lighting and shading in this video. This is the model we finalized in our part 1 video. So let's get started. So we have all the parts of a model renamed into names. So we have the label, we have the glass body, we have the lid, and we have the liquid, which is inside of the model. So let's start with setting up the camera. So let's start by adding a camera. We add a camera, you press 0 to go into camera view. I have set my resolution to 1080 and 1920 vertical, and I'm gonna set the lock camera to view. You can open this properties bar by pressing N. It closes and opens, and you set up the camera according to the perspective you want. This looks fine for now. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to add the platform that we're going to keep our product on. It's going to be a basic cube. I'm going to go ahead and set the camera focal length to 120 millimeters and bring the camera a little bit further away so it captures our scene properly. Yeah, that works. So to move our product, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a parent to all these pieces, so we don't have to move these individually. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna add a empty cube. I'm gonna shape it in our product in a way that it looks like our product's bounding box. A bounding box is usually used in physics. It's a box that's created to set up the area of a certain object, and it captures our object inside. So I think this is great. So I'm going to rename it F2, and I'm going to name it main product. I'm going to parent all these objects onto our empty object. Now we can move this, and our product and our pieces move along with it. I'm going to move our product into place. And I'm gonna have these edges beveled. Perfect. Now that our product and our scene is set up, let's look into lighting. Mind you, right now we don't have any materials set up. It's all gonna look clay and white, and that's exactly what we want. So right now, if I add a light onto the scene and I hit render, I'm using cycles render, by the way. I'm gonna increase the intensity so we can see the products way better. So right now you cannot see any materials in the scene. That's because we don't have any materials to our objects. So let's focus on that. If you look at the reference, you can see that we have a main light coming from the left top. So we'll set up that light first. And you can see that there's a shadow towards the right side of the lid, but not a total shadow. There is a halo effect coming from behind, something like a ambient light. So let's set up that light next. Let's set up a ambient light hitting from back. Great. So now you can see the outline of our lid is quite captured with this light in the back, and the intensity looks a bit high. Let's reduce it. Great. And for the most part, our main lights are done. But it's not quite yet. We need to quite capture a little bit more of a detail on the lid and on the glass and on the platform a little bit more. But that is something that we need to worry about after we set up our materials. So for now, we can have the lighting as it is right now. So let's move on to our materials. So let's hit new material. We're gonna rename it as glass body. I'm gonna remove the principal BSDF. We're gonna add a glass BSDF. And this does not look good at all. But for now, we're gonna keep it like that. We're gonna move on to the lid. Let's add another material. We're gonna name it M lid. And we're gonna have the colors matching the reference. And we're gonna increase the reflectivity by reducing the roughness. We're gonna keep the label like this for now. And the liquid. For now, we're gonna add another glass material for the liquid as well. And we're gonna change the color so we can see it. Great. So, this does not look like the reference at all. So a couple of changes that we need to address in these materials in order to get that realistic looking glass effect we want. Looking back at the reference, we have very nice shapes that are visible on the sides, and on the corners we can see very nice shapes popping out. And in this, it looks very flat on the corners and it looks like it's doing something, but this is not what we want. So let's start with perfecting our gloss shader of our glass body. First, we're gonna mix our glass material with a transparent material. Somewhere around 0.8. That's great. And we're going to mix this again with a translucent material. Set this to 1.5. Right. So let's go back to the layout and let's place our lights in a way that we can achieve the same effects that we have on the reference photograph. Now, as you can see, I have set up our lighting. It's basically our initial lighting setup. We have our main light from the top and we have a backlight which is focused more on the ambient side of things. But I have kind of divided and located all these lights in positions so I can get the most amount of details from these light placements. As you can see, I have set up this light on top of our product so that we can get this corners highlighted. I have set up this light, which is our main light, to get a little bit of intensity on our face. I have set up this light to get this crisp shadows, and these three lights are just playing with the back halo effect and the ambience, but still this is not what we want. Let's start with adding a background. Right now it's just black and this is not what we want, so let's go ahead and add a plane. We're gonna name this collection as BG. We're gonna name this plane as BG OBJ. I'm gonna take it to the back, extrude it so it covers our entire background. I'm gonna set its color. Wait. Right now, let's not focus on the color of the background yet. But now we can see that our lights are affecting our background as well. We don't want that. We don't want our lights affecting the background. We want the light only focusing on our product and our platform right here. Why? Because we're gonna add a separate light that's gonna affect the background. And we want that light to only affect the background. So right now, let's remove the influence of these lights on our background. So how do we do that? There's this feature that Blender introduced in their latest versions, which is called shading and light linking. This is very powerful. So what are we gonna do is we're gonna select our lights and we're gonna link basically a collection. So this light is only gonna affect the specified collection. So a collection named characters have all our objects. I'm gonna add our platform into that as well. I'm gonna keep linking that collection to all of our lights. So right now we don't have any lights influencing the background directly, but you can see that there is a little bit of a light bouncing off to our background, and that's fine. That's something that if you want to go further, there are methods that you can avoid light bouncing onto that certain object, but for this video we don't want that. Right now everything is perfect, so we're gonna duplicate one of these lights. We're gonna set its rotation to 0. We're gonna turn it around. We're gonna rename this as BG light. So this is gonna be the main light that's gonna be influencing our background. I'm gonna drag it to our background collection. We're gonna remove the light linking. We're gonna add a new light link, which is the background. And as you can see, it's affecting our background only. And this is great. And we want a uniform color. If you want some shadows, you can move your light around so you can get some sort of shadows on the side or some light on the top. Likewise, this is great. But we want uniform color, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna place our light somewhere in the middle. And again, if you want uniform color, you can add a emission material to our background, but the reason why we're not doing it or the reason why I'm not following that method is because usually when you do this method you get some sort of very minuscule shadows on the sides or some sort of imperfections of the light, which adds to the realism of this photograph rather than it being completely uniform, you know. So I like that. So I like to try to use a light source to have a uniform effect while having those imperfect places. The liquid inside of it is like full and it's full of life and it's glowing, and we need that effect in our render as well. So we're going to use the same light linking method but just for our liquid, so we can get that glow effect by manipulating the light around it. So we're going to duplicate one of these lights again. We're going to rename it as liquid light, and we're going to remove the links once again. We're going to drop down and drag the liquid object inside of here. We're gonna go inside this, increase the intensity, and we're gonna place this light right behind the liquid so we can get a very nice glow effect. Let's add a color to the background as well. We're going to increase our glass roughness. And we're going to set our IQR to 2.2. Great. We want some glow of our liquid to be a little bit more prominent. So we're going to place it a little bit more closer. Let's add some texture to our platform. We're gonna add a label. Let's light the label separately because right now it looks quite dark and I want a isolated light source to light up our label. So we're gonna duplicate another light just like we did before. We're gonna name it label light. Remove the linking. Add another linking. We're gonna add our label into this. Go to label light. We're gonna place it in a place where we can see our label properly. I need some shadows on the side as well. I don't want it to be lit completely. It doesn't look nice. I'm gonna have it on the side, just like that. You're gonna see the final result on screen right now. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in our next tutorial. Bye bye.